Hi everyone! So, this video has been a long time coming. I was supposed to post it as soon as I finished it, but life just got ahead of me and I completely forgot to edit. So I finally finished editing and now I'm posting it for you. It's gonna be my Guizhong cosplay, my first handmade cosplay I made. Hopefully you guys enjoy my process. Tried my best to make it about 15 minutes of the whole video, and so you'll probably see a lot of stuff that is going to be repeated, like sewing and then making shapes and all of that, but I didn't want to just make the video of solely sewing, so it's very fast clips of me trying to sew everything. Hopefully that's okay with all of you. And I also forgot to say, I did not take too many pictures or videos of the full product. So hopefully I can get it fixed because it broke when I wore it the first day of Calgary Expo. So hopefully I can try to fix it as best as I can to give you guys a try on, but if you guys want, please check it out on my TikTok, because again, that is probably the only place you'll see it for that. But let's begin. So here I am just kind of drawing the pattern and templates that I want for the costume. In the corner, I did kind of do several attempts at making this just because it took so long. Since there's no real pattern, but I had to scratch that, and I just kind of started doing it this way as well because I realized I needed to do the back, but again, it was not going very well. So I just kind of drew everything many times. So here I am with my final sketch. For fabrics, I did buy everything online, so I didn't really get to feel or see anything until I got here. I absolutely love this starry kind of thing, but it is a texture that I do not like, and unfortunately I had to put it on the inside, so that was my fault, and I didn't realize until after. I should consider buying a table for my fabrics. Anyways, I ended up cutting everything on the table just because my dog was in the way, and starts the long process of sewing everything together. Again, this is my first project, so it may not look the best when it comes to sewing wise or anything else, but it is my first time using the machine, so I would say I did pretty well for my first time. So after sewing the inside, this is the outside part, which is white. On the underneath is the blues that I had already sewn in the first clip. And again, just a whole lot of sewing, and yeah. Next, of course, I had to make the ruffles at the bottom right there. I attempted to do 3 kinds of ruffles to see which kinds I ended up using. And so here it is, just kind of presenting which one I like the most, because it was sewn 3 different ways, and yeah. Here I finally decided to use a chalk piece I had to kind of outline everything, and in this clip I did forget to realize that I'm short and that I made the flaps too long. So here I am just trying everything on for everyone. Again, for the sleeves, they are a little itchy, and as well I decided I would just kind of leave it open. So this isn't like part of the original design. I decided to leave it open so that everyone can see the inside and all that starry kind of thing. So for the bodice part, this is what I initially did, but then I realized it was not good, so I had to redo it, and I just decided to do it on 1 piece of fabric instead of 2. And then I just kind of cut it out for the black pieces, and so the whole thing at the back is black, but at the front, where most people will see, it's gonna be black and white that you'll see. So here I show the front part that I've finished sewing. For this piece, it did feel like an apron, just because it was only a front part and not a back part. But later on, I realized that the front was too heavy, or well, the back was also too heavy, so I ended up making a piece of fabric to go around. For some protection, I did use this bodysuit, and my mom was a very big help for everything, so she helped me sew the sleeves onto this bodysuit. That way I didn't have to keep pulling the sleeves up. But yeah, here is the whole thing together of me showing you that it's not gonna fall off anymore. And yeah. I realize now I forgot to show it, but just to make everything easier, I just kind of used my own black shorts that I already pre-owned so that I didn't have to make any. So for the wig, it was relatively easy. All I bought was this 150cm wig off of AliExpress. It's like a whitish gray, which was perfect. Of course there weren't any blues, but I did kind of use eyeshadow to dye the pieces I needed blue. But yeah, all I did was kind of brush it out first before I cut, because cutting the wigs still scare me. Since I don't want to make a big mistake in case if I cut it too short or anything of that sort. This was a very long process for me, so I ended up just kind of watching some Law and Order. In the background you'll see me watching the clips. Yeah, so again, it was just a bunch of brushing for now, making sure that I section everything. This wig is very thin. It wasn't very thick as I wanted to have it, but it had enough hair to not worry so much about it. And yeah, so for cutting, I did cut a little longer than intended, just to make sure that I didn't cut it too short, because obviously I won't be able to fix it then. I believe I should have kept the strands of hair that I had, but I think in my rush to finish this before con, I might have accidentally thrown it out. But here I am, just kind of blunt cutting everything and then going back in to shear it out, make sure it looks okay and not horrible. And yeah, so like you see, I am keeping the front pieces, and the back piece I tied off because they're supposed to be kept long. And again, it was just to keep it out of the way as I was cutting, so I didn't accidentally cut it in places that I don't need cut. So like I said, I did just use blue eyeshadow to paint the ends and the stripes that I needed that were blue, and then I cut the front pieces a little shorter just so that I didn't have to feel like it was too long and hitting the floor. For the accessories, I did try to sketch everything out on paint before I just kind of downloaded and printed off the page with all the items onto the one page, and then just started cutting it from there to use that as templates. So I did have to export to docs because I couldn't print it out properly, but I printed it on just some scrap paper I had. And yeah, so I colored everything first, and then I'm cutting everything now. Just again the individual pieces, and then anything that needs to be cut out as well, so the hollow pieces and the pieces that I need to do for different colors. That's why everything is kind of color coded. And yeah, so again, it took me forever to cut everything out, just because it's so small and very detailed. but that is how it worked. For that piece, I did make it too small, so I kind of just sketched it out by hand and then redraw it just so that everything looked cohesive. And then here I am just kind of separate everything to make sure. So again, I had to remake some parts by hand just because they were not big enough. So I kind of just used some scrap foam that I have from an old project I was using, along with some new ones that not recently, but I've had for a long time. I had to use an X-Acto knife because it's just sharper and easier to cut. And so yeah, here I am just kind of making sure everything is cut properly and then sketched out properly, making sure I have enough of everything I need, and yeah. So based off of the template, I just kind of have to multiply the template as many times as I need for all the pieces. For this one, I realized that the foam I was using is not thick enough, so I am just doubling everything so that I can attach it together and make it the thickness that I want over how thin this is. Just because this foam here is only slightly thicker than regular paper, and so for me doubling it was enough for these little charms that I'm making for the belt part. So again, I am just kind of doubling everything of all the things that I need. And for this one, I am just making it bigger than the piece above, just so that it's just easier for me to work with, as I may have made the template a little too small, so I'm always just constantly readjusting everything to what the size I need for all of my little gadgets and stuff. And here I am, again, doing the same thing, tracing the template onto the foam directly and then cutting it out afterwards. For this piece, this is the hair piece, so I had to make sure everything was good because that would be the most visible thing around my head, and so I need to make sure that all was good. And yeah, so again, just redoing. It's a rinse and repeat for a lot of these steps, is just to do whatever I can. I am also trying to save as much, so I tried my best to make sure everything was close together so I'm not wasting any foam, and so that I can use it for more pieces on this project or other pieces as well. I did buy these tassels and I had some ribbon lying around the house, and yeah, I realized that you cannot see here, but bear with me. So I just kind of sewed the tassel onto the foam, just directly shoving the needle through the foam and kind of tying it off there. The foam was thick enough so I didn't really have to worry about it falling off, but during con it did accidentally fall off a few pieces. Those are pretty easy fixes, so I wasn't too worried. But yeah, so I did have these beads lying around the house, and I thought they would be perfect because on her costume she has a bunch of little beads, not just like the pendants and pearls. So I kind of attached everything as best as I could to replicate what it looked like. And yeah, I personally, if I were to do this project again, I probably won't use this glue on some pieces, just because I did still have to use hot glue at the end, as it wasn't sticky enough and it started peeling off. So I do recommend it, it's really good, but for this kind of foam project it was not the best. But yeah, here I am kind of attaching the tassel pieces to the belt part that I was making, just so that, again, everything was there together. It was just sewn on. I sewed it a couple times. So then I'm just kind of sewing the foam pieces to this ribbon, just because I didn't want to make foam all the way around my waist because it was going to be very uncomfortable. So I kind of just used the foam to the front and then used ribbon for the rest so that I could tie it around my waist and not worry too much about it when I'm walking and other things. So again, I'm just kind of sewing all the edges as best as I can, so it does look really messy, but that's okay. For the back hairpin, it wasn't strong enough as the foam is not strong, so I kind of used this dowel piece in the back so that I could leave it there. And then finally it's just kind of painting everything, making sure that everything looks good and doesn't look like I messed up with the foams. So for here I kind of painted everything in the back black because it was just easier and it was going on a black piece of fabric that I had, as these are like the shoulder pads that she has, so I just kind of painted it black so again that the blue didn't feel like out of place from all of the black that was going to be around. And yeah. So for the hairpiece again, just because the dowel looked very out of place of all the color schemes, and I had to paint it anyways, I kind of just painted everything together. I know it's not really gonna show a difference, but I did just kind of paint it blue, just because the blue of the foam itself was too light compared to what it was in the pictures, so I kind of just grabbed some darker blue paint and painted everything. I believe I had to do 2 coats just because it was cracking a little and everything, but that is completely fine. And then I grabbed some more ribbon. This one had a little sparkle, which I loved, and that is for the back part where again she has some ribbon. And initially I was gonna put these tassels just to attach it there, but I forgot because it was literally like 2 days before con that I had to wear it for. I bought some clips from Dollarama and I just attached it for that hair piece. So I broke it off and then did that. And then for this, again, I was in a rush to get it ready because the con was the next day, so I just attached it to the sleeve by a bobby pin. So like I said at the beginning, I don't actually have too many pictures and videos of the full cosplay, so you'll just have to bear with these. Some photos I took with some of my friends of the costume. So that is my process from mostly start to finish. I hope everyone enjoyed. Again, I feel so sorry that I had to rush everything and that I didn't get any more photos or videos of the final product. But hopefully you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye!